Okay. What's the first thing I wanted to talk about before we leave today? If you check the video, I also showed you guys how to format your hard drive. Is that not correct? So let's say, for example, if you if you come to your computer, for example, here, if you go to computer here, if you click on computer, you notice I have one drive here. Is that not correct? Now you were asked to do a partition, or you were asked to partition your drive. Now, for some of you, I asked you about the guest additions, that you need to install the guest additions. It helps to enhance the virtual machine, right? Now, to install guest additions, normally some of you, if you go to your computer right now, you notice that guest addition is not listed, right? To make sure guest addition appears, all you need to do is to come to devices. You see devices here, and you select insert guest addition CD image. Can you click on that? If you click on that, you'll notice that when you come to your virtual machine, if you refresh here, the guest addition should be displayed by now. That's it. Then you double click on it. Of course, you're running x86, then you install x86. This is not a 64-bit operating system. That's all. Just go through the installation and you're sorted. Okay, now if you come back to the computer here, it says you have drive C, meaning you are asked to create another extra partition and give it a label name. Of course, how to do that is to go to the start menu, you right click on my computer, and you go to what? Manage. Now on the Manage tab, you will see a console that says what? Disk what? Management. Is that not correct? So you go to Disk Management. You go to Disk Management. Then under Disk Management, you will see your drive there, 25 gig, and it's only showing you one physical drive partition. It says one primary partition. Now you are asked to create another partition called for 5 gig or 2 gig and give it a volume label, music. How do you go about that? You right click and you say what? Shrink what? Volume. Now when you click shrink a volume, what it's doing here is that it's trying to calculate. Now remember, this is different from Windows XP. Remember, Windows XP, we had to partition from the installation. But Windows 7, we can either do it from the installation or we can do it from where? From the desktop. So what the computer is going to do is going to try to calculate the available disk space that will be that we can have for a second partition. That is why it says querying volume for available shrink space. Please wait. So it's going to come up with a wizard, then it's going to tell us the amount of volume available. From that volume, we can either take from it or use the entire available volume. Are we together? So just give it a while. It's going to come up. I'll just disable my updates, postpone it. So just give it a while. It's going to come up. So let's say you were asked, while this is loading, let's say you were asked to set up a schedule for your defragmentation. How do you go about doing that? You go to the start menu. Of course, if for example the start menu, it's the search icon is disabled. Let's say for example it's disabled. How do you go about doing that? You go to the control panel of your computer. You come in here, change it from category to small icons. Then you see administrative tools. These are administrative tools. You double click on it. Now you'll notice here that these administrative tools only list these tools that are used for what? Administrating computers, like performance monitor, print management, services, system configuration, task scheduler, firewall, Windows memory diagnostics, PowerShell, local group policy settings, event viewer, and even the computer management where we currently are right now. Are you getting me? So let's say, for example, if I wanted to go to this defragmentation, I will look for performance informations and what? And tools. because this defragmentation is used for performance. Is that not correct? So I'll click on that too, and it's going to come up and show me all the performance of my computer system. You notice my score says what? 1.0, and it goes up to 10 to what? 7.9. That is why I say some of you need 7.9. That's level 7 hardware. Are you getting me? Okay. I did talk about the disabling the features for Windows 7, the search features, right? So how to disable the search features, we'll come to programs and features. Then we come to, you see on the left hand side, you see turn Windows features on and what? Or off. So I'll click on that, and it's going to load up. Now from here, you'll notice that some features are not on. Are you getting me? While some are on as well. So what I'm going to do, my Windows search features is actually on. So by the time it lists it here, I can scroll down and I can say what? I cannot check it, and it will do what? It will put it off. Not only that, you can also put off your game. You see the games here. If I click on the drop down menu, I can actually put off Solitaire. Where's Solitaire? I can take off Solitaire only. I can take off Spider. I can take off what? Hearts. What other games do people play? Chess. What other games do people... I just take out only the games that people usually like playing. Are you getting me? Then I click OK. Now, remember, these are client computer systems. They will log into their computer, go to games, but they can't find Solitaire. Now, they can't complain because they're not supposed to be playing games. They're supposed to be what? Working. Now, that is how you can play around these features. You can try that when you get home. Just uncheck it. When it's done, you click OK, restart. You come back, it will be off. So go and test that as well. What else again? I wanted to show you guys. Okay, we'll go back to, let's go to performance, information and tools. Then we click on advanced tools. Then on the advanced tools, you will see resource monitor. Remember, I wanted to tell you guys how the resource monitor works. Is that not correct? Now, if you click open resource monitor from here, it will show you the resources that is being used by your computer. You see on my CPU, can you see all the resources that is used on my CPU? It tells me the program as well. If I also want to check my network, you see all the IP addresses. Did you see the IP addresses? You see, I'm actually using mweb.com.na because that is the network I'm connected to. Then on Network Plus -PC, that's the name of my computer. Then this is the broadcast IP address. Then of course, this is another website. Now I'm going to type a website now. Let me go to my Internet Explorer. Okay, of course, it's going to open MSN by default. I'll just say go to home page. Now I'm going to come back to resource monitor. Let's see if MSN is going to open here. You see, a website is opening. Just look at it for a minute. It's going to come up. You see, it's increasing. The websites are increasing now, right? You see a lot of IP addresses are showing up now. You see Internet Explorer. You see a lot of IP addresses. Exactly. So it's showing me, you see a lot of IP because remember I've opened a lot of pages here. Are you getting me? So there's a whole lot of communications happening on my computer, and it's showing me exactly how it's going out and how many data are what being sent. If I come to my memory, it will also show me my application. So this, you can see the graphical display here as well. Are you seeing it? So that's resource monitor. For disk defragmenter, you come in here, you open it, and probably you were asked to schedule a disk defragmenter. You're given a task to schedule. So what do? You come here and say configure schedule. If they ask you either daily, weekly, or monthly, let's say for example they say monthly, and on a monthly basis do it 6 times. So on the 6th day, then On the 6th day, let's say on the 25th day. On the 25th day at 12 noon, select the disk. Now, most of the times, it will automatically select all what? Disk. Are we together? But currently, I only have one disk. That's why all the disks are not displayed here. So what I would do, let me go and do let's go back to the disk management. So how many space do I have left to shrink? 10 gig. Is that not correct? So I'll just put 1000 megabytes, which is 1 gig. I'll click shrink. You see now the space is going to appear right now. Let's give it a while. It's going to come up. Do you see my 1000 megabytes? Is that not correct? So it says unallocated, right? Okay, I can come in here, right click, and I'll say new what? Simple volume. It will bring up the wizard. I'll click next. I'll just accept the default. I will give it a letter. If you were asked to give it a letter Q, then I'll give it a letter Q. I'll click next. And they say the volume label should be music. I'll put music. Of course, the format should be NTFS. Or you can be asked to give it FAT what? 32. Remember, NTFS supports folder encryption. Is that not correct? If I select this, it will ensure that any file stored in this drive will be what? Compressed. I'll just leave it on check. I'll click next and I'll click finish. So just give it a while now. It's going to format it. And that is it. Our volume is ready. It's going to pop up. Autoplay. Can you see it? So let's go back to disk fragmental. Let's see. Select disk. Click OK. Then you can say analyze the disk before you want defrag. But of course, this is if you want to do it immediately. But here you can close, and that is set up automatically. Are we together? Let me go back again. Advanced tools. Now this is actually a partition in this disk, because if you come here to configure, it says disk. It is you notice we only have what? One disk. By the time we add multiple disks on our computer, it will actually display all the disks here as well. Okay. Now that is how to defrag, and that's how to create partitions. So if you are asked to create partitions, that is how to do it. Not to add. If I ask you to create a disk, it's different. If I say create a partition, meaning create your disk first, then you come and create your what? Your partition. Take note of that. It's very important. Now the other aspect I wanted to show you before we leave tonight, it's creating a shared folder. Let's say I wanted to create a shared folder here, for example. I'll go to new. I'll call it folder, and I'll type it office doc. Now I've been asked to share this folder. How do you share this folder? I'll right click on the folder. I'll go to property. I will go to sharing. Then I'll come here and say advanced what? Sharing. Then I'll say share what? This folder. Now if you were asked to give it a particular shared name, normally to take the default name of the folder as the shared name. But you were said, no, call the shared name sales doc. Are you getting me? But the folder name is called office what? Doc. But the shared name should be what? Sales doc. On permission, you are asked to only give certain group of users the permission to change and read the folder. Not everyone. So if you are asked that, please only give a certain group and not all the users. So what I can do, I will come in here and I'll say remove users, and I will come here and say add. let's say, let me add, Gregory, how do you spell your name? Greo, right? If I say check names, it will come up and say Gregory doesn't exist, cannot be found. Now, how do I go about making sure I add the appropriate group or the users? I'll go to Start menu, right click on my computer, I will go to what? Manage. Now, on the Manage icon, you notice where we have groups and users. Is that not correct? Remember I told you the essence of creating a group, to consolidate what? Users to what? One entity. So instead of me asking you to give users permissions, I may prefer you to give what? The groups. So for example, I will come to the computer management console now. I will expand local users and groups. I'll click on users. I'll right click now, say new user, and I'll type Gregory. I'll put a password here. Monday. I'll uncheck this. I'll say user cannot change password. I'll create. Then I'll come in here to groups, and I'll right click, and I'll call this group sales docs. Members of this group, I'll come here and add. I'll type GREO. Of course, it does exist. I'll click OK, and I'll click create. So Gregory is not only just a user now, it's now part of a group called what? Sales what? Doc. And I was asked to only give Sales Doc the permission to what? To read and what? Change. So I'll come in here to the folders. I'll say add, and I'll type Sales Docs. I'll click check names. It will automatically select it. I'll click OK. Now by default, it will give it read. Then I'll come here and say what? Change. I'll click apply. I'll click OK. Apply, OK. Now, if you come to network, of course, my computer is called Network Plus -PC. If I double click on it, I will actually see a folder called Sales Doc. But you and I know that that is not the name of the folder. The folder is actually what? Office what? Doc. If you double click on it, it's going to be empty. Now, see, there's a problem. It says you do not have access to what? Contact your network administrator to request what? Access. Now, my name is what? Network what? Plus. Now, who is the only person that have access? Huh? Huh? Who have access to Sales Doc? There's only one person. Who is the person? Gregory, right? Is that not correct? And Gregory is part of what? The Sales Doc group. So for me to be able to have access to this, I have to be part of that group. So what do? I go to computer, open, right click on Sales Doc property. I'll go to advanced sharing, permissions. I will need to add myself, but I don't want to add myself. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add myself to that group. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to computer management. I will come to Sales Doc. I will click add. Then I'll type Network Plus, because that's my username. I'll click check names. I'll click OK. Apply. OK. Okay, I'm going back again to the folders. I'll come to Network Plus, Sys. Okay, it's still saying access denied. Just a minute. Okay, let me just check the permissions again properly. Because normally the shared permissions always, the NTFS permission always overrides the shared permissions. So let me go back and check the security policies. Users can only read and execute. Okay. Okay, let me add the sales docs. Space. Okay. Okay, let me try it again. Still no. Work docs is going through. Says docs should go through. Oh, okay, let's see. I think maybe because of where the partition is. Let me move this to my desktop. Let me cut this. Let me take it to my desktop. Okay, let me share it here. I'll call it sales docs. I think it's because it was in the, I'll call it sales docs as a group. Change. Still having the same issues there. Okay, I think it's the permissions on the client's computer. Work docs works. Is work docs. Let's try this. Let me add the groups here. Sales docs. Okay, let me log off. Okay, let me log in again. It's working now, huh? So I needed to restart the computer for the settings to what? The changes to take place. Yeah, so that's why I had to log off. Okay, guys, I'll stop there for today. Most of the contents that you probably